So the Funcom dev stream happened yesterday regarding update 3.0, and there is a lot included here. If you don't have time to sit through the over 2 hour long live stream, I'm going to chop it all down today, so let's get started. So firstly, when is update 3.0 going to launch? There's no solid date yet, with Funcom still sticking to a Q3 2022 release, which is really any time between now and the end of September. They wouldn't give a solid date as it depends on the results from Test Live and dealing with any issues that pop up. Some have asked if it will release on consoles, and the answer is of course yes. Funcom are aiming for parity here, trying to release the update for all platforms at the same time, assuming everything with green lighting goes well on consoles. Hopefully they can achieve a synchronised release, but the green lighting process of Sony and Microsoft can be much stricter than PC, and often holds many smaller games back. Next, the Battle Pass. To put it in really simple terms, the Battle Pass has 3 tracks: Free, Standard and Premium. Free gives you 12 items out of the 60 available, Standard allows you to earn all 60, and Premium allows you to earn all 60 as well, but immediately grants 15 levels from whichever point you purchase it from. There are options there for all players, though the Premium Pass may seem like the best option for some. I would exercise caution there, as I think you may be surprised with the rate of progression. Dennis, the lead designer, stated that progression simulations were based on somebody playing normally for 1 hour twice a week. It seems to be balanced on people that have a day job and don't have all day to play, which is a good way to balance it out in my opinion, though they will be tracking all the data and making adjustments if people are, for example, clearing the Battle Pass in a week and then having nothing left to do. When it comes to progressing the Battle Pass, it's all done through challenges. These will infinitely roll every day to complete for Battle Pass XP. You get 5 XP boosters per day, and you can bank them up to 20 in reserve for a total of 25, meaning you can miss about 4 days and not really lose any XP. At launch, it seems the XP multiplier will be set to 10x, though they will likely tinker with this over the weeks and months after launch. Each level of the Battle Pass has a flat XP curve and requires 1000 Battle Pass XP with no scaling. You can re-roll challenges 3 times a day if you don't like the look of your challenges, though a lot of them seem quite easy to do through regular gameplay, and seem focused on encouraging exploration. The Battle Pass is broken down into ages and chapters. Ages seem to be the overarching season, and chapters are sort of sub-seasons, if you will. Each chapter seems to have a different Battle Pass, and each age will have 2 or 3 chapters. Each chapter will last around 90 days, and thus we'll get a new Battle Pass roughly around that time with new content. The bad news is that currently you won't be able to work on old Battle Passes if you're joining the game after they've gone out of active play. Battle Pass items won't be coming back and won't go into the MTX store at any point, but they are willing to listen to feedback on this factor. There's also no way to earn Crom Coins, the premium currency, in-game. They want it to remain as a paid-only currency, which I can kind of understand. The good news, if you purchase the Battle Pass, either basic or premium, and complete it up to level 57 for the first Battle Pass, you'll be able to get the price of the Battle Pass back in Crom Coins and purchase the next one essentially for free. This sounds like something they want to continue throughout the future, so it's great news if you don't want to have to buy every single Battle Pass. There's no news on the price yet, as they are still assessing it. Next, the Black Lotus Bazaar. This is the MTX store and will include building sets, placeables, armours, weapons and selected items from existing DLCs. I saw a lot of concern in my comments and the comments of others' videos about fear of missing out mechanics, and apparently they are avoiding that. The stock will rotate in and out regularly, but items shown will always return. The layout of the store may change in the future as they build up the back catalogue of items, but currently they explain that they don't feel they have enough content ready to warrant a more fleshed out permanent list to explore, but the content that rolls out of rotation will come back. Another piece of good news is the Bazaar will still have sales and discounts like the DLCs do on Steam or Xbox or PS4, so that is pretty nice. All purchases will be account based and shared amongst all past, current and future characters. The only exceptions are one-use items such as the orbs and the free track of the Battle Pass at level 12. These orbs are one-time consumables and they act to cast the Call of the Dead sorcery, and I think they're kind of intended to act as a teaser to introduce people to what high-level magic can do. Overall, through all the concerns, I think the Battle Pass and the Bazaar look to be turning out pretty good. It is a shame you can't earn Crom Coins through gameplay, but I can see why. The fact that you can't work on previous battle passes if you pick the game up in 6 months or a year after 3.0 drops is disappointing, but they seem to be at least somewhat willing to hear feedback on this, so they could choose to change this in the future. For this decision they said they'd taken the advice of a monetization expert, but if we make enough noise about it, they could maybe change their minds. So, away from the monetization, Sorcery. It's aimed to remain faithful to Robert E. Howard's source material, dangerous and occult to both victims and the caster. There is no throwing fire or casting magic arrows, and it's intended to augment gameplay, not replace combat, and it's cast through an arcane focus which doesn't seem to be able to be used as a traditional melee weapon, solely a casting device. So with Sorcery, you'll be able to find out how to learn more about Sorcery by defeating some of the new Sorcerer NPC camps. You'll progress through finding words of power, but they didn't give us any more info on that as they want it to all be found naturally. It seems like this is all based in-universe and in-game, so it's pretty nice. The UI for casting is perfect as you cast through stone tablets rather than any widget-based UI, which is again really immersive. With magic, your corruption is directly tied to your sorceress ability. You'll gain permanent corruption as you develop your magic skills, with certain spells and rituals requiring a set amount of uncleansable corruption. The hard cap is 50%, where you'll become sort of a glass cannon. Your stamina and health will be cut in half, but you are capable of massive feats of sorcery. The devs showed plenty of spells, including aggression pulls, full damage negation, snaring darkness, hiding the effects of corruption, etc. Spells seem designed to increase utility, survivability, manipulate enemies, or sometimes deal damage, but not all of them do. Some spells will stack together, others don't. Larger spells cancel each other out, but smaller spells can sometimes be stacked. They also showed the Demonic Portal for fast travelling and the Thaumaturgy Bench for transmogs, which are restricted to being the same weapon class, which is nice. Not too sure if that's the same for armour, we'll have to wait and see. Next up, attributes. The devs pointed out how some people were upset that Savages was gone with the new names, but they have changed Charisma to Authority and Craftsmanship to Expertise to create Savage, so we've only lost one S. Attributes now have multi-choice perks and they seem to be much more fleshed out. They now heavily influence your weapon choice and playstyle, and generally all weapons should become more viable, including bows. This is intended to break the really stale meta of Conan, and should be fun to experiment with. There will be an attribute wipe for 3.0 to allow you to respec with the new perks, as hardly any of the old perks remain, or at least so it seems. Perks can be corrupted for sorcery using human souls, harvested from sacrifices at the sacrificial bench. These perks can augment your sorceries or attributes relating directly to your chosen skill, though we only saw 1 or 2 augments in the strength tree. Weapons have been reclassified to either strength or agility and will receive significant damage and usability bonuses from their respective controlling skills. You can get roughly an extra 10% damage by speccing fully into the opposite skill too, but the devs have designed this to allow you to spec into different skills for extra survivability and utility, though if you just want to pump raw damage, that option is there. Next was the building rework and creative mode. The new building system is all stored within a construction hammer, no more fiddling around with the hotbar. There are a lot of new contextual options for swapping brushes between deleting and placing items, rotating items, and even selecting pieces you're looking at, similar to Minecraft's creative mode. It sounds really good. You'll still of course have to gather resources, but the crafting and placement option seems to all be done within the hammer. It'll take some getting used to, but apparently this has been designed for the gamepad, and thus it should make everything smoother and faster. There's also changes to stop grass poking through foundations and ceilings, which is a very welcome change. There's also a server-side setting for stability too, allowing you to increase or decrease stability loss, even completely removing it to create some really wacky structures. Creative mode will cloak you from enemies, remove unnecessary UI elements, unlimited resources, god mode, flying, etc. It will teach you every single recipe and allows you to build freely without restrictions. This of course excludes DLC, Battle Pass or Bazaar building pieces, which you'll have to own. This is available for admins, and there is also an option to allow it for all players on a server, so you can basically create creative build servers. Events are coming back to update 3.0 as a permanent feature. Grave Matters was a tester for the back-end side of things, and 3.0 will launch with 5 regular events. They won't be marked on the map and are designed more as random encounters. Dennis wouldn't say what they are as he didn't want to spoil them, and I can't blame him. Organic events sound really cool. It also seems they're open to adding even more events in the future. The final large point was the followers' rework. Thralls are now much weaker, with less health and roughly a 50% reduction in the damage they do. You can choose to put some of the power back into them by speccing into Authority. This is designed to allow more player agency unless you choose to play with Thralls, which is an awesome idea. Even in my limited experience with survival, Thralls are almost a necessity, and therefore now they're definitely not going to be as OP as they were before. There are also now follower classes, which I believe include human, undead and beasts by the sounds of it. There wasn't much information on beasts, although they did cover the undead fairly well. They're very strong and they are linked to sorcery, but you can't equip them with weapons or armour, and they are susceptible to the rot mechanic, which effectively gives them a time limit. They may allow the rot mechanic to be extended with magic or caretaking, or to be adjusted on the server side in the future. Authority will dictate how many followers of each class can accompany you, up to a limit of, I believe 4 followers for undead is the highest limit there is. There are more changes coming in the future, like a revive system for downed thralls, but that is targeted for Age 1 Chapter 2, and thus won't be shipping straight away with 3.0. Finally, there were some miscellaneous points in the Q&A section which we'll quickly blast through. On 3.0's launch, binds will be reset as they've added a lot of double bind options for extra functionality, hence why the bind reset is in place to make sure certain things aren't broken. Inventory now opens through the tab button rather than the I button on PC to make it a little bit easier. I'm not sure if this affects console though. New combat updates and changes are coming, new animations for combat with a proper posture as well are on the way. Lock-on now tracks better and makes it more comfortable to fight. Strafe speed while locked on also has been increased, making it a bit faster and easier to dodge or sidestep attacks. It sounds like there's some hefty nerfs coming to mounted PvP combat to help players on foot fight off mounted targets. I know literally nothing about PvP, but I have watched a couple of PvP videos and apparently this is a big issue. All hostile actions whilst mounted will cost more stamina, especially lance usage to hopefully balance out mounted combat. They're also making the lance a one-hit item, so you'll have to re-ready it if you wish to use it again. They've also fixed almost all the issues with lance multi-hits, treating it more as a single-shot power weapon now, similar to the right-click aim of the bow. Some of these adjustments will be toggleable server-side. There are also some balance changes to building materials to make Tier 2 actually worth building. Big nerfs are coming for gate frames and drawbridge health, and I know drawbridges have something ridiculous like 200,000 health, which is very obnoxious, so those are getting changed. These changes are intended to help PvP building normalise and offer a smoother transition between Tier 1 and Tier 2, and there are also some buffs to orbs for raiding. There's no crossplay yet, but they are considering it for the future. It heavily depends on how circumstances work between the consoles and of course PC. There is no level cap increase with Update 3.0, though it could come in the future with additional content if it warrants it. A question was asked about improving server performance, and Dennis replied that they're always working on improving performance and optimization on servers. They are looking into more optimizations for servers and on the character side, but this is always a work in progress. Modders will get the dev kit quite early to hopefully update their mods ready for launch, so hopefully there won't be that much downtime for our favourite mods. There are currently no plans for a building transmog system yet, which was asked about. Dennis said that he likes to keep dangerous things looking dangerous, especially the buildings. There will be new NPC camps and apparently even some new caves on both Siptar and the Exiled lands to facilitate the Sorcery discovery storyline. Thralls and followers won't use Sorcery as it's solely designed for the players. There are mounts that will have a sort of sorceress aura about them, but no directly magical combatants. In response to a question asking about potentially updating Conan's engine, Dennis said that Conan will pretty much never be updated to Unreal Engine 5. Performance upgrades can be backported from future versions, but it's unfeasible to try and push it to version 5 simply because of the really heavy modding on the back end that allows Unreal to work with Funcom's internal systems. It may be possible in the future for Conan Exiles 2 apparently, which Dennis said will happen at some point, it's more of a question of when. The Royal Armour and the Atlantean Sword cannot be added to the game as normal, as they are pre-order bonuses. There was talk of adding a different version of these items, but just speculation. The demonic teleport pads could be public or private depending on the state they ship in. In testing, they are apparently currently bound by clan, and a non-clan member could break into a base and use it to effectively inside raid the clan's other bases, but that may not ship. Much to the disappointment of many of you strange sadists out there, you cannot put players on the sacrificial altar. Funcom will not be selling items exclusive to Twitch drops or pre-orders at all, but they may modify them to include them in the future. They also stated these modifications won't just be recolours, but they may make a new armour set with a similar theme. There are new mounts and new pets, but unfortunately no boats are planned for Conan Exiles yet. Also, no server wipes yet. A viewer asked about a map with dinosaurs. Nicole laughed it off until Dennis said they've talked about it before, and there is an in-universe place where it can work, so Conan Exiles may actually be something we could see in the future, although I heavily doubt it. A viewer asked about new hair and body types, and Dennis said that some work needs to be done on the back end to add more hair, body types, and apparently even body hair types in the future, but they are tentatively planned. Dennis also mentioned they're considering changes to make PvP servers faster to gear up on, and not as crushing when you lose your base or items, to make the general lifespan of PvP faster. And there we have it, the complete recap of all the information included in the Update 3.0 dev stream. Generally speaking, I'm actually really happy with how things are shaping up, and I'm even more excited for the future. I think this could be the first step in Conan really kicking it up a notch and becoming a titan within the survival game genre, and though there are a couple of disappointing points in regards to the old battle passes disappearing forever, and Crom coins not being earnable through gameplay, I think there's a lot to look forward to here. It seems Funcom have been listening closely to the concerns and ideas for Conan, and making changes to address them. Hopefully there are no delays that push back that Q3 release date to Q4 or God forbid even 2023. Overall though, Update 3.0 is looking really good. If you enjoy my content, all the links to my Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon, Host Havoc affiliate page, NordVPN discount and NordPass discount are available in the description below. However, of course, you can simply just leave a like, a comment or subscribe. Any of those are very greatly appreciated. Patrons get a bunch of nice benefits, including sneak peeks of videos, your name in every video, custom made wallpapers in 1080p and 4K resolutions, full-size build blueprints, Discord roles and more. As always, a massive thanks to our patrons Sadialot, Randar, Connor, Ivy, Torn, Ill-Fated, Coffeeman04, Jacques, Marion Ladd, Ryan, Ben, Alfric, Eagle Rose, Psychotic Diva, Melanie and X Screeches X. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.